Hi there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me again for another project. And I am revisiting some of the annual catalogue, and particularly inspiring iris. Irises are spring flowers, certainly in the UK, so I thought I would embrace a bit of spring, even though on the day that I'm filming this, I not only have a chest infection, but it's also snowing. So I apologise if my voice is a bit weird. Blame the bugs. So this is the card that I've made. There are a few little techniques that I have thrown in there just for good measure, and as you can see, it is definitely an iris. So we're going for the kind of blue purple and some bright green and a pop of yellow. So let me show you how I have made it. I'm going to start kind of almost in reverse order by preparing the ribbon that I'm going to use. I've got a scrap of paper here. The first thing I'm going to do is stamp on the crinkle seam binding that is in the Poppy Suite in the mini catalogue. And I've got the little strip from the stamp set that I'm going to stamp onto my ribbon. Now, it's not as difficult as you might think, and stamping on ribbon is a kind of thing. So I can see the ribbon. Now, if you've got a worry that you can't see where the ribbon is, you could always put it on a piece of dark cardstock and then it would show up for you. This strip just fits, and I do mean just fits, top to bottom. There we go. So I'm going to pop that to one side to dry. It will bleed a little, but not a huge amount. So that's that done. I will need that ink pad again, but not just yet. The other piece of ribbon I want to colour is the metallic edged silver ribbon. And I've got the dark Pineapple Punch blend. And I am just adding that. Now, it doesn't take a huge length of time to dry because it's alcohol, but it's just better to do it a little in advance so that it can dry properly. It will stiffen the ribbon a wee bit as well, but so that I can pop to one side and get on with what we are making. And I've just realised I need a scrap of paper. So one scrap of Whisper White. That's for the stamping, so it doesn't need to be this big. We'll also need a liner for our card, a matte, both in Gorgeous Grape and Pineapple Punch, and then I'm doing a card blank in Granny Apple Green, and I've cut it long and thin. You can cut it short and fat if you would rather. I've mounted up the outline of the iris onto my eye block. Yep. It probably fits on the D block as well, but I'm going to be using the D block for something else, so just for the ease. Oh, I've got fluff everywhere. I don't know why I've got fluff everywhere, apart from the fact I have a fluffy jumper on. Right, I'm going to clean this because it is covered in fluff, and I think I am going to blame my fluffy jumper. So let me just clean that off, because if you get fluff on your stamp, it will carry over to your image. That looks better. So just give it a good clean and it should be fine. So because this is a hard pad, I like to sort of squish it across and then go back and tap. If you're doing a solid image, if you do the wiggle, you could end up with a wiggle on your stamp. So it's always better to go back in and then just tap. But it's a good way of getting ink actually onto your stamp. Now I'm going to come up a bit because I'm using the stitched label dies, and they do obviously have a bit at the bottom. So that is all I need my memento for. So that's fine. Now the next one I'm going to bring in is the outline, or sorry, the filler for the leaves. Now the joy of this stamp set is it doesn't actually have to match up perfectly. And you've got to love a stamp set that doesn't have to match perfectly. So I tend to look at the top of the stalk and then one of the leaves, and that kind of will get you roughly in the right place. Gosh, that was squeaky. I do apologise. There's not much I can do about a squeaky voice. So there we go. And as you can see, it's not a perfect lineup. It's an image. That's absolutely all we need. So do not worry if it doesn't line up, because that's right. We don't want it to line up. Right, and this is the iris colour, the solid image. And again, I'm going to ink that up in Gorgeous Grape. And again, it doesn't have to line up perfectly. So I concentrate on one area. And so long as that's kind of there or thereabouts, and then I flick my eyes down to see if it also lines up there or thereabouts elsewhere. And it does. And there you are. It's never going to line up perfectly, so do not stress. Okay, so I'm going to run that through my die cutter with my label. And I've chosen the one that means I get the whole image into the label. I'm going to just whiz round with a pair of scissors so that, because this is a bit wide to go through my die cutter, so I'm just going to cut roughly. And I quite like doing a rough cut because then I know that that is a scrap and won't necessarily have straight edges. So when I come to use it for something else, I won't get misled. So it's just going to go through like that. So, so there we go, and just take off the outside and then the inside, and there we have our lovely irises. So all we need to do now is put everything together and add a few last touches. Oh, and do the sentiment for the inside. So let's do that now. And again, I'm going to use the Gorgeous Grape and apparently put it all over my jumper. Bear with me one moment while I get a wet wipe to wash that off, because I don't really want mauve ink on my lovely Norwegian jumper. There we go, all off. It's about the only thing I use wet wipes for is accidents. Right. Let's try that again, shall we? So I'm using Gorgeous Grape for the liner of my, the sentiment for the liner of my card. And I've got "You are somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody," which I thought was a nice just send it because it is card. And I do like a just send it because it is card. So bring in our bits. So this I'm going to pop up, but first I'm going to add my mat to my mat, if you see what I mean. So get the glue to the bottom end. Oh, and the sun's come out. The sun's come out and I think it's about to snow. You know, it's the UK. We have the most bizarre weather, particularly at the moment. If we have any more flooding, I think we're going to lose more trees. We've already got trees down in the river. So some trees that are on the riverbank, because we've been having so much rain and so many high winds, we are losing trees because the roots are just getting waterlogged. So they're just falling over. Right, so I'm going to add some snail as straight as I can across my card, and then bind my ribbon. I found one of my pieces of ribbon. Where did I put my other piece of ribbon? Oh, there we are. Buried underneath wet wipes. So this is my piece of pineapple punch, and as you can see, it's now quite stiff. And that's purely because of the alcohol in the mix of the dye and the alcohol in the blend pen. So that's that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of snail to the ends for my stamped piece. And that, whoops, just goes across the middle so that it's kind of in the middle of the pineapple punch ribbon, and then add a nice bit of snail to the back. And fold it over. And that is our nice piece of double layered ribbon. This is going to go on dimensionals. I'm going to need a new sheet, I think, very soon, if not now. See if I can get away with just what I've got here. Which I think I can. Just pop that bit in the middle. And then do remember to use the edge pieces of your dimensionals. They work just as well as the ones in the middle. I have been known to go through the bins at class to take out ones that have been thrown away. So just pop on our feature piece. And then I've got the Happiness Blooms enamel dots, which are in the soon to retire in colours. So we've got Pineapple Punch, Blueberry Bushel, Lovely Lipstick, Grapefruit Grove and Call Me Clover. So if you want these, now would be a good time to get them while they're still in stock. So I'm just going to add 3 of these to my card just as a little feature, and I like my odd numbers. Right, fold my card in half and give it a good press, and then this will be the front, so this is going to go on the inside. And as ever, because it's Whisper White, I like to put the glue onto the card I'm sticking it to, and that's purely because the Whisper White is a little thinner, so it's less likely to show or warp if you put it onto the card base rather than the Whisper White. It's not a big deal if you do it the other way, but that's just my preferred way of doing it. And then I'm going to do the same again, even though it's not Whisper White, and this just means I've got a little bit of wiggle room because I want this to be central. So as we come to the end of the video, do remember, if you don't already subscribe, you can do so just by clicking the subscribe button that's about there. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see the measurements and some close-up photos, those will be on my website, and there's a link to that in the description bar below. And do remember, if you have any questions or comments, leave those in the space below in the description bar, and I will get back to you in the next few days. Thank you very much indeed for watching me today. Sorry about the croaks, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.